we're live.
Okay, good evening, and welcome to the December 2021 Orange Board of Selectmen meeting. Wow, look how tall that camera is now. Okay, very good. Oh, now Judy. No matter what angle you get me, you're going to get three. So, emergency exits for those in the audience. Oh, since the fire marshal is here. Follow him. Would be go up my right, your left. Would be up the stairway that would lead to the rear parking lot of the town hall. If for some reason you couldn't go that way, you could go down the hallway and up the stairs that will bring you out by the Orange Center Road Firehouse, or you could go up the front set of stairs behind the wall with the clock on it through the double doors and out, and that will put you out in front of the town hall on Orange Center Road. So with that said, can we please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to start on my right with our newest member. Welcome, Connor Dean, to the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you.
So you queue up and...
Yep, good evening, everybody. Connor Dean.
Good evening, John Carangelo.
Good evening, Ralph Oakenquist.
Good evening, Judy Williams.
Good evening, Mitch Goldblatt.
Very good. Okay. Is there a motion to close the regular meeting and convene public hearing? We actually have two public hearings tonight, so it will happen twice.
Second.
So this public hearing is going to be with regards to the fee increases for the building department, and Lucian DeMeo, our building official, is here. I'll read the notice since our secretary is not sitting with us. Okay. Notice is hereby given. The Board of Selectmen, located in Orange, Connecticut, will meet on December 8th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at Orange Town Hall, 617 Orange Center Road, Orange, Connecticut, 06477, in the lower level meeting room for the purpose of holding a public hearing on proposed fee increases for the Town of Orange Building Department, amending subsection 183-1 permit fee schedule. All persons interested may appear and be heard at said time and place, or may file written comments with the Board of Selectmen prior to the date of hearing set forth heretofore. Notice of public hearing dated at Orange, Connecticut, published this 19th day of November 2021. James Zioli. We did not receive any correspondence on either of these postings, just so you know. These have been in the works for quite a while, some longer than others. I'm going to ask Lucian, is our building official, so he can come on up to Lou. This request, his department, he's going to go over it better, but just remember, over time, you have voted and approved from a part-time secretary to a full-time position, and from Al Pohl, who was a part-time, I think $16 an hour employee, to a full-time 37.5 hour full-time licensed electrician inspector. So there's significant changes on those things. Those have all been part of the reason for this, and it was part of the agreement with the finance director when those things were going through, just to give it a little history. But with that, I'll turn it over to building official Lucian DeMeo.
Good evening. My department, since I have gotten here in 2014.
Take that
Oh,
off
I can
while
take
you're
that off?
up. Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be easier to.
I got here in 2014. My first year here, our department saw about $19 million worth of permit value of work. Probably a majority of it was commercial. Probably about a fifth of it was maybe residential. The past few years, since 2017 to 2021, we've been averaging between $50 and $60 million worth of permit value. So our workload has increased. Our demand for us has increased, which is why these other things were put into place. We've got a long way to go yet, and I think that right now we're a little low on our fees, and I think it would be beneficial to the town to raise our fees, seeing how most of these fees are going to be paid by the commercial end of it. If we look at this year, we're looking at $10 to $12 million worth of residential permits. The balance of that's going to be commercial. So it's not so much that it's going to be impacting the residents. It's going to be basically helping the residents by bringing more income into the town. We also feel that we have a lot of ways to go in our record retention. Right now, we're currently in a viewpoint permit, which allows people to take permits out 24/7, 7 days a week. We also have a paper set of files. We need to get our files all together into one spot, and that would be in the computer with our viewpoint files. We have 7 years now, 6 years of viewpoint files on viewpoint, and then the rest are back, to the 50s in the paper. So I feel that would be beneficial to my department and very helpful to the town. And also, if we can get our prints scanned in, because our filing system up in the attic is very overloaded, and it's quite difficult for us to find any sense of organization or prints when people come to look for prints for commercial buildings. It takes a tremendous amount of time and effort. So that's why I'm standing before you to ask you to raise these fees so that the building department can continue to grow and continue to keep up with what's the demand has been putting on us.
Okay, and he has provided that data and also comparative of some of your neighboring communities for you. They have, all the departments are, I think they all are now, after Jack Demersion came, I think everybody's on it now, which has helped a lot. That's the permitting process that each department signs off on as it goes through the review. Years ago, it had to go literally office to office to be signed or stamped by the certain different officials and all. Now they're able to respond to it online with that viewpoint system that we put in. That was something that was really driven, probably, did that under Tim Smith that started? Tim, yeah. So that goes, way back now, really. And so that's part of it. And like I said before, about you have already expanded your staffing there, and fire marshal is similar also with that. But, so questions? Yes, Judy?
Yeah, 2 questions. Lucian, where you say all the fees are going to help to take care of those 3 items that you listed?
Well, I'm hoping that I can get those done.
Okay, is that, are you looking at another person, or are you looking at,
Well, there may come a time where I'm going to need another person.
just to do like the,
I need a part-time person, maybe
Okay.
2-3 days a week.
all right,
The load is tremendous, and the more I'm out in the field, the less time I have in the office.
okay.
So that's part of what we're looking for. And when I look at the fees, and I look at a $10 increase, when you look at $1 million job, it's $10,000. So if a commercial entity came and they wanted to do a $1 million project, it's going to cost them $20,000. That's 2% of their job. It's not going to stop them from coming here. It's not going to make them look in another place. They're going to be looking at what are the taxes going to be and what are the things the town's going to do for me. They're not, that 20 grand is nothing. They'll spend that and extras coming out of the ground,
Right,
basically.
right. And I just had one other question. When you do a certificate of occupancy,
Yes.
is that required that you have to go out on site to run through everything, or is it just a paper thing at that
Absolutely.
point?
We have to go out and do a final inspection.
All right, so you're saying, and you want to keep that at $50?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because
They-
my inspections are included in the rest of the fees. That $50 fee is basically my administrative fee to take care of Tracy, to do the paperwork, to punch these stuff in and do whatever she needs to do.
Okay. All
So
right.
that's what that's basically an administrative fee.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, their fees for their inspections is driven by that dollar amount. And if you think of, well, the most recent example, I mean, we can go backwards a little bit. You can go back to the Hilton Suites, or the FedEx building, or the VA building, the expansion at New May, other buildings that were built. But they pay those fees, and then they call in for an inspection, whether it be plumbing, electrical, footings, whatever. They've already paid those fees, and that's where that is going to. Your personnel don't go out just once at the beginning and once at the end. They're out there multiple times. As an example, we've all seen that facility being built opposite Christmas Tree Shops. It's going to be independent living to assisted to care. How many trips over time have you already made there?
I've been out on that site 30 times already since it started.
Once a day.
Huh?
Once a day this week.
See, so they're coming along, so these guys have to stay right on top of all the different parts of the construction there. So that's why the fees are what they pay for these guys making house calls. Next.
And Judy, it happens because these jobs are in such a large phase that they're doing the job in phases. So I'll be required to go there and not do one underground inspection. I'll be doing 5, 10 underground inspections because I have to move along with them.
John?
Lucian, I was just going to ask you, so, you provided some data here from other area towns, looks like Milford, West Haven, New Haven. Just out of curiosity, being now we're a small town of, 14,000 and change, did you compare to any of those other towns very similar in size? Are we still lower than
Okay,
them?
now if you want to do that, you have to look at the picture. You can't look at the size of the town. You have to look at the demographics of the work that's being done in the town. You go out to Easton, you're all residential. You come here to Orange, we're 4/5 is commercial. So for me to take and say okay, I'm looking at Woodbridge, or I'm going to look at Easton, I got to try to find a town that's doing the kind of workload that we are in the commercial and residential, because there's always that mix. Some towns you go to Hartford, you're going to have all commercial. You come to Easton, you're going to have all residential. So that's going to affect your costs.
Okay. No, I appreciate the response, because I was curious
Sure.
why we had the larger towns and
Yeah,
cities.
if you go just by population
Yeah.
count, it's challenging. Mitchell?
Lucian, thanks for all the information and the comparisons. You mentioned in the beginning about how many millions of dollars worth of permits are brought in, value. Do you know how much you're bringing into the town right now in terms of revenue per year?
It was a little over $500,000 last year.
Okay. And so by increasing these fees,
We're hoping to see another $500,000.
okay. Because
Yes.
of doubling
Somewhere
the,
between half and
Yeah,
double.
yeah.
thank you.
We have had some significant, large, new development too, and there's a couple more things coming, so it's okay there, yeah.
Thank you.
Ralph, Connor, anybody, any other questions, audience?
Yeah, just one quick question. When do you propose this would take effect?
I think it's our new year, July, when our new year starts.
July 1st?
July 1st.
There's a little bit that has to go in with this because it's in our town charter, so it has to be published, which is quite expensive in its entirety in the newspaper and all, because it failed in charter review a couple of years ago. And so there's a few steps and hurdles, and then the attorneys would have to make sure it's all written in i's are dotted, t's are crossed, and so it would take effect July 1, 22.
And Connor, also, any building permits that were taken out prior to that, we are going to honor our old fee for them and their mechanicals that come. And then any building permits and mechanical permits that happen after that date will have the new
Start
fees
new.
attached to it.
Excellent. Good.
Any other thoughts, questions? This has been a long time going, and actually, the next one is even longer before it happened, so. Okay, any other questions for,
Can I get it? Can I ask
Mr.
a
DeMaio.
question? Does anybody here think that there should be a 10-year, review period for, all the departments to get together and review their fees and then, have a date? Because right now, we're at almost 12 years from the last time that we had talked about our fees. A lot happens in 12 years.
some have updated their fees regularly. Some, John's been on some of them, like Park and Rec, is one in community services for some of their costs for it. Your department had some hurdles that wouldn't address fees in that department, which is why yours is where it is, I guess.
Okay.
And then Jamie's was under discussion, the fire marshal's department was under discussion to be increased, and Fire Marshal Smith had met with Vin several years ago talking about it, but unfortunately, things changed there, or fortunately, I don't know if it's that's a plus and a minus. Hello? There, so there's different cases that.
Okay, right, it can't be, lumped in
It's
like
not
that.
always uniform,
Okay.
but for multiple reasons, and I think you know what the reasons were in your department, so,
Thank you.
Done now.
yeah. All right, then.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you for your
Lucy
time.
DeMayo.
Thank you.
It's not often we can have the mayor of Hamden come out. Look at him growl. All right. So let's see, is there a motion to close the public hearing and go back into our regular meeting to vote on this
So moved.
Second.
request? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Okay. So now, is there a motion to be made on this increase of fees as presented for the building department of the town of Orange?
I'd say so moved as discussed to increase the fees as of July 1st, 2022.
So, second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Time moves fast. Okay, the second one is a motion to close the regular meeting, convene the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. There you go. Okay, this public hearing is fee increases for the fire marshal's office. Fire Marshal Vincent is here. Notice is hereby given. The Board of Selectmen located in Orange, Connecticut will meet on December 8th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Orange Town Hall, 617 Orange Center Road, Orange, Connecticut, 06477, in the lower level meeting room for the purpose of holding a public hearing on proposed fee increases for the Town of Orange Fire Marshal's Office, amending subsection 217-2 activity fee
packet you received, the top 5 pages will show you what we have. Anything that's got a strike through will show you what we're currently charging. And then next to it, we put the proposed new fee next to it. In this packet, you'll see quite a few different towns: Milford, Trumbull, Bridgeport, Fairfield, and I believe the city of West Haven, Allentown District. And you're going to see that those numbers are all over the charts. So when this was first proposed back in 2011 by my former boss, we kind of modeled our permit fees much like the Trumbull setup, where they go based off of square footage. Lou's is based off of a dollar value. So Tim's idea was, well, you can't lie about square footage, but you can certainly lie about how much it costs to do your house. So we went off of square footage. Since that time, we've seen increases in surrounding towns. Tim did approach me about 3 years ago. I think he talked with Vin and someone from the Board of Finance, where this was brought up about, let's take a look at these fees, because, what you're looking at is the fees basically incorporate what it would take to take one person off of the road and sit at that drawing table and do a review. Now, what's important to note is, for every one drawing, I could probably count on one hand in the 23 years that I've worked for this town that we've had to review one drawing. They always come back with revisions. Okay, we had one project, we had 7 revisions for the same project. So these are modest at best. We are probably, par with a lot of the ones that you'll see here. If you look at Trumbull, we're significantly lower, with the exception of the first level on the plan review. And then the inspection fees, same thing, it's going up because obviously, our pay is going up and we have a little bit more expenses from the office.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that said, questions for Fire Marshal? Yes, Judy?
Okay, bouncing off of what Lou was talking about, do you see that these fees are going to be able to, like, say, last for 10 years?
I don't know that 10 years is a good mark.
Okay, that's what I'm
we're on the 9th year now and we're way under.
Yeah.
I would almost venture to say that if we were going to do changes to fees, the reason why we're here together is because we know it's going to have to go to a charter revision. We wanted to do it once.
Good.
So maybe every 5 or 7 years would be a little bit more
Yeah.
effective, but that's up to the board to decide.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, because a lot of places do have the 5-year plan, they do have, and I think, listening to that and kind of digesting and thinking 10 years down the road, there's a lot that can happen. So I like that we're increasing them, definitely.
If I'm correct, and Vin, you can correct me, it was at the 5-year mark that you approached him, correct?
Okay.
So we're pretty much, we would have been there.
Right. Okay, good.
Just another question, and I don't know if Vin might be able to clarify this. Is there anything that we could do to say that, every 5 years there would be a 2% increase, so that it's built into the charter revision from the get-go? Just, I'm thinking about like cost savings down the road.
If I may, I think during charter revision, we attempted to incorporate a time period and a percentage to alleviate the issues of coming back, but the town shot down any idea that we had to try to make things simple, unfortunately.
So
So is that going to be?
but if you think about that, it's similar, what Connor's asking is similar to what we do with the elected officials' salaries. You set them ahead of the election, and then they're built in to the salaries for the next 2 years. So it's very similar to that. If you structured that into the verbiage of what they're both requesting, would it sustain, or would it get out of whack? Would it be too much? Hold on, Rich.
Or too little. I mean, in other words,
Or
are
too
you
little.
going to
Right.
set yourself in at 2%, and then it's like, oh, in 5 years from now, suddenly there's such a dramatic change in the economy that should be,
Mike.
Oh.
I thought I was muffled. You don't want to box yourself in so
Right.
that you're stuck at 2%, because 2% maybe should be 4%.
Right.
So I think it's wiser to possibly see if we could structure the charter to reference as stated in an ordinance. So
Right.
instead of going back for charter revision constantly, we can just simply have an ordinance modification. Maybe you could look at that.
Okay. Well, that's,
You don't like that?
no, it's still a possibility. Mitchell?
Well, this is an ordinance change right here.
It is.
Correct.
So, I mean, Jim, when we look at the salaries as a good example, we can look out
That's all I had.
yeah, but 2 years in advance, we have an idea of
Yeah.
where wages are going. I think 10 years from now, who knows, these fees could be way low, they could actually be higher, depending on technology. So, I mean, I think we're okay in doing what we're doing, and we'll take a look when it's time to take a look again. Maybe by then we'll have a charter revision that makes it easier to do something else, but, thanks,
All in
John.
favor?
Thanks, Jamie. Jamie, you wanted me to vote for? Jamie, you wanted my vote on this, right?
Mitch, I was only kidding. It's good to see you.
Hey, you want the hammer?
Connor, see how quick they turn on you here? I'm telling you.
Jamie, well, I've got the microphone.
That was quick.
Thank you for putting together the comparisons, and I'll ask you the same question that I asked Lucian, is about what are we bringing in right now in fees, and how do you see this as potentially increasing our revenue from the fire marshal's office?
So we completely blew the building department's numbers out of the water. He did about 500,000. We did about 26,000. We'd be looking at about another 40% increase. So another 8,000, a little bit more.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's off of a slow year. I mean, I still haven't compiled last year's data, so it was from the year prior. But I think we're significantly higher. And every year it seems to be going up somewhere between 11 and 16%. So we're staying steady.
Okay. Any other questions for Fire Marshal Vincent? If not, thank you. You can sit down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting?
So moved.
Okay, Judy Ralph, okay. Is there a motion to be heard regarding the fire marshal's request for increases?
Motion to approve as presented?
Okay. Also effective? July 1. 22? Okay, all right. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Unanimous, okay.
Good job. Thank you, guys, really.
Very
A
good.
lot of good information.
All right.
Thank you.
Public participation. Public participation is allowed up to 2 minutes for items that are not on the agenda. Mr. O'Sullivan.
Patrick bought this, Patrick?
Yes. Pat O'Sullivan, Town Clerk, for another couple weeks. I received a memo from the Secretary of State's office along with the Registrar of Voters that every 10 years, there's a reapportionment or redistricting of state representative and state senator seats. We're still going to have 3 districts, the 114th, the 117th, the 119th. This is the original for the last 10 years, and here is the new one. And it's changed ever so slightly. If you look,
Give me the small one, I'll hold, or you want me to hold the big one, you hold the small.
no, here we go.
Give me this is a little different. I'll be your easel.
We're going to move the 114th to Hall Drive, so this portion is going to be part of the 117th. It's going to go up to Old Grassy Hill Road, and that's going to then be part of the 119th. So that the 114th is shrinking a little bit in the town of Orange, and the 119th and the 117th is going to expand a little bit in the town of Orange. The registrar of voters will have to notify the voters. They're going to have to notify them fairly quickly because this is a year where delegates are selected for those state representative and state senator districts. And those will take place during the month of March, I believe. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
And that's done?
I'm 99% sure it is.
Okay, oh boy. The line outside the community center will be longer.
And that's all I wanted to report on that part. And then I just wanted to say to the residents and the voters and the people of the town of Orange, thank you very much for giving me the honor and privilege of serving as town clerk for the last few years. It's been a real joy. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So thank you. And then just finally, I just wanted to report that the Bicentennial Committee will be meeting starting tomorrow night, and we're very excited about it. We're going to meet every couple weeks. We're going to meet as often as possible to have a spectacular venue in the second week of June. And we'll give you more information as it comes available. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a Merry Christmas and a healthy New Year.
That ought to be interesting. Go ahead, Mitch.
So Pat I've got, if you want to look at these closer, I've got copies, just one copy, I guess, to pass around of the new voting districts. Pat's correct, we'll still be in 3 voting districts, but the 114th, which is pretty much comprised of, I think, 55% of the town currently, is going to be reduced. Therefore, hopefully, that should equate to a lesser line outside the gymnasium in our voting. And the voting districts, as you look at them, are I don't know the numbers, but when you look at just a map, they look pretty much split by thirds as opposed to what it was. So our voting districts will be more evenly divided. It should help with the flow for Election Day, but of course the registrars have a lot of work ahead of them. My biggest concern now is whether the rooms we use for District 2 will be big enough because that district is expanding, but we'll see what happens. Plus, with number of people voting by absentee now, they may negate the need for changes, but it should be interesting. And
That has expanded a lot, the absentee,
Yeah.
for a local election to have the amount of what was absentees this year, Patrick, 600 or 700?
I issued 714 ballots.
Which is considerably more than in years past.
68 back.
Yeah, so things have changed to the point where it does. As a matter of fact, I did hear the 114th now even goes all the way into Hamden. Yeah, somehow by Woodbridge or somewhere.
part of Orange, I think all of Woodbridge, part of Derby, and then part of Hamden.
I feel sorry for those poor people campaigning,
Yeah.
you know?
And the senatorial district is pretty much the same. The senatorial district does include, right, Pat, all of Orange still. So the 14th is still closely to what it was.
I don't know. They come up with things. All right. Mitch, comments, thoughts? Public participation, you have anything?
Of one thing.
I know you do.
No, you don't know what it is, though. The Lions Club held its Thanksgiving dinner last Sunday or so, and right after Thanksgiving, and very well done. Lesser people than usual. I had the privilege to be there and help out. I have a letter addressed to me, but also to the entire Board of Selectmen. It says, "Dear Mitch, the Orange Lions would like to thank you for your contribution to our 33rd annual community Thanksgiving dinner for our town seniors. They truly enjoyed this annual community meal of Thanksgiving. Appreciate your time to help serve our meals to their seniors. Please convey our thanks to the Board of Selectmen for letting us use the town facility for this important event. We truly appreciate our town's continued support with this event. The Orange Lions look forward to celebrating the town's 200th birthday with you this year. What a wonderful milestone for everyone in Orange to celebrate. Enjoy the holiday season. Stay safe and well. Sincerely, Lion Michael Muddett, Lion Linda Muddett, and Lion Ann Carollo, the co-chairs, I probably should say tri-chairs, of the Thanksgiving event. So I wanted to convey their thanks to the board and our vote to allow them to use the facility for another great event.
Okay. Yes, Judy.
I want to say that it was a fantastic tractor parade. And I also want to say that the Christmas tree is nicely decorated this year. It looks very, very sharp out there on that green. So, thank you. It was a good time had by all, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
There were
That was it, I didn't see anybody else.
There were thousands of people. There was far more than I could ever remember. I saw Mitch at a distance at one
Okay.
point, and I saw Connor at a distance at one point, and it was like,
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, everywhere you looked, and Santa Claus did a great job, the fire department, the police department, Public Works, Park and Rec, Chris Small on his own as well as Park and Rec, or the OVNA allowing it there, everybody participated in all. It really was very nice. One of the saddest things was it was some of the warmest days we had, and the ice carving guy did two nice ice carvings. He did a dreidel and he had a deer. I went by the next day and I go, well, Ed, I said, all you got left out there is a couple ice cubes. A lot of times they'll last a week or more because it's cold. One day, they were gone. The dreidel was 2 ice cubes over here. The deer was 2 ice cubes over here. It was like, well, that was quick money for that one. It went, but it was had by all. Donnie Flair told me that there were 47, I think he said, participants in it this year, and leave it to Lynn Plaskowitz and her crew. They had chili and pasta and hot chocolate for the people down there at the fairgrounds. They had enough machinery that they filled the whole track all the way around with vehicles for people to see and all when they did get down there. And there were darn near as many people down there as there were on the green. So it was really, the scary part is lots of people, myself included, have shared photos and Jeff Cap's video of it and stuff. And if you read them, there's all these people, oh, we didn't know, we would have been there, oh, we would have come. Careful what you wish for, because next year it'll be even more so. And I know an awful lot of people with tractors that saw it. I shared it to one of my friends' pages, and we'll see. But anyway.
Just everything you guys have said is correct. It was a wonderful event. It was just overwhelming, the number of people that showed up this year. Having gone just about every year, to see that many people just was incredible. And the number of tractors and how well they were decorated was very, very impressive. Connor and I were at the
That's what I
flagpole,
was going to bring up.
and we couldn't hear you. We couldn't hear anything from the microphone. We were fairly close. So the only complaint, if it was, and it's a minor thing, is to try and do something about the speaker sound system so we can hear, just beyond the flagpole. You want the whole green to hear what's going on.
No, that was one thing that was recognized. Several people spoke to me about that. And, there's a guy, of course, now we're digressing a little bit. There's a guy who's he's out there working for funds, begging for funds, and he travels a little bit. He's been at Best Buy a couple times. I've seen him at Whole Foods. He's been out in front of Trader Joe's. He plays the accordion, doesn't speak English. I stopped to talk to him and gave him a donation, and he has a sign there that, he has 3 children, et cetera, et cetera. But he had his, and I'm not a technology person, but it wasn't a very big speaker, and his phone, which I presume is synced to it, whether through an MP3 or something, I don't know. It was so loud, you could hear that from the post road. He was playing, and it played the backup music. And we need to look into something like that, or maybe even a little better, because the sound was a big challenge. And it's a big challenge at a lot of our events. And so it's something that we do need to address, and I think we should.
Yeah, I'm happy to bring my expertise in the entertainment side of things to help with that for future events, because I have equipment that we can use, or I can tell you what we need.
Well, maybe you should look into it, and it's maybe something that you don't want to get tied down to having
No,
to be
I
there
understand, yeah.
running wires and all, but if it's something like what I described or better, bring it forward to us.
Yeah.
But it's definitely recognized that we're lacking there. The only other thing was Mary Shaw and group, I'm not sure who was in the group, they put out luminary bags. Well, they never got to do the bags, but if you looked, the bags were just flat. Because there were so many people there that they just got all walked over. So it was, that was a challenge too. But all in all, it was a very nice affair. We lost another stalwart of the community this week that was brought to my attention was Ida Cazacrio. Ida has lived in our town for many, many, many years, and she was a school bus driver here. She was I think she was one of our first two female police matrons for when they had arrests of females. She and Mrs. Zelinsky were the two that handled the situation when women were involved in arrests and stuff years ago. And she had a very long life here in Orange, and her family is still here, and our thoughts are with them at this time. For those of you at home, Cablevision is having trouble with broadcasting Channel 79 OGAT for some reason. But anyone who's looking to watch meetings may watch on YouTube either by going to YouTube and searching OGAT or going to the Town of Orange website and click on Watch Orange Government Access Television. And we have no control over that. That is Southern Connecticut Cablevision and Optimum and all of those people that you pay lots of money to every month. We've spoken enough about the next one. Mr. Foyer has sent a reminder that the ground is soft. It's going to be very warm next week. If you have a mailbox that is subject to abuse of the snowplows sending wet, slushy snow through the air, remember my famous batter boards. 2 fence posts with bolt holes in them about this far apart. You put those in on the oncoming side, and a piece of plywood about this big, 4 bolts, and don't forget to put your house number, whether painted or fancy or whatever, but put your house number on the board, because if your mailbox is blocked, emergency services needs to be able to find your house in the event of an emergency. Also, don't forget to put markers out at the edge of your property. And a lot of you will see in the stores, they have for quite a few years, those fiberglass sticks. They're about as big as my pen. Trust me, if you've ever driven a big truck with a snowplow, those things there aren't showing up. Go out and buy some tomato stakes or some wood stakes and fasten reflectors to them or something, and so they can see. You know, I have a pile of used tomato stakes over the farm sitting on a wagon over there. If somebody really needs stakes to mark the front of their property, come over and get some. But, you know, you have to put something more than that little fiberglass whip that's like this, because they don't show up. And if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and those people are out there plowing snow, they're not going to see that, and you'll know it when you come out of bed. So that's all I can say on that. That's from Mr. Foyer. Town offices will be closed in observance of the holidays on Christmas Eve, Friday, December 24th, and New Year's Eve, Friday, December 31st. Those offices will be closed. The transfer station will be open from 8 a.m. till noon, 12 p.m. on Christmas Eve, Friday, December 24th, and on New Year's Eve, Friday, December 31st. They will be closed on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. While we're on transfer station, tires are not being accepted at the transfer station. The vendor who used to pick up the tires has been challenged at best. They have not picked up, and the cost of picking up those tires has gotten more costly when they do pick them up. The town will probably be looking at a fee if you bring tires to the transfer station, which you would pay down at the attendance shed by way of your credit card. The Board of Selectmen have to act on that, and it hasn't been brought to them yet. However, when you're getting tires changed, whether at any of the local vendors, and they tell you, well, there's a disposal fee for your tires, pay the disposal fee and leave your tires with those vendors, because you're not bringing them to the transfer station. So just an FYI, sorry, but until the recycling committee can find a better way, we're stuck. And they are aware of it. So the Chili Chili Run for the Amity Teen Center will be held on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022, at 10:30 a.m. at High Plains Community Center. Boy, if they get a turnout like the race a few weeks ago, it'll be really a great thing. The Turkey Trot was a huge success, and I hope the Chili Run is as well. So that is all we have for that. I've asked you twice, go ahead.
You just brought up something I thought about before, was I'd just like to encourage all of the residents of Orange to please put your numbers of your house on the mailbox and on your house. During the campaign season, sometimes it was very difficult to find a house. And if it's hard for us to find it, you can imagine what the police or fire department are having as a problem. So it costs a couple dollars down at Home Depot to get some numbers. Please put them on your mailbox and put them on your house. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Minutes, to consider and act on the minutes of the November 10th regular meeting of the Orange Board of Selectmen. Were there any errors, omissions, or corrections? If so, please state page and paragraph. If not, is there a motion on those?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, unanimous. Okay. No.
I acknowledge everybody, if I don't see it.
Okay, we'll see you.
Well,
Okay, new business, to consider and act on bid recommendations for implementing a revaluation on October 1st, 2022, in accordance with Public Act 12-62. You have the data provided by Mr. Brancisi as to what they did for their bidding process on this. So that was what we have there, I mean, for revaluation.
and we don't have a choice, we have to do it, right?
Yeah, we have no choice. Actually, it was quite interesting. Mark was in a tangle with them because of a
No more delays.
change a few years ago. Yeah, no, so it has to be done. So,
Last year.
yeah.
So motion to approve?
Who's the guy again? I read through this like a novel,
Well, yeah.
We're going back to Ryan this year. We had Ryan,
and that was
Two-
because they're familiar with town.
well, they did it 2 revals ago. I think they did the 3rd reval, if you went back. One was Vision, there was somebody else, I think.
No, you said they
Who
did
was
one
the last
for
time?
Oh, was it, Ryan did it then?
I thought
You
it did.
said 2006 and 2017.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay,
So-
so then it was Vision only had it once. Okay,
Vision's the one we had last time, right?
evidently, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
2 concerns. One is the fact, well, 3 concerns. One is I wish Mark was here. The second concern is the fact that, you know, you and I, when I was first selectman, you've been there longer, I had significant complaints when Ryan was used way back. Maybe there's been less in the future revals. And the third question really has to do with the fact that, you know, he says right in the first page, they did not bid on pictures. And I would think that pictures is an important aspect in today's reval. So I'm just, you know, I read through what Mark wrote. I understand why he wants to use Ryan. It's not that significant, but it is not the low bidder. Municipal Valuation Services is. Now, I know Guilford has contracted municipal valuation services. I've talked to the assessor there, but they're on the same schedule we are, so they've just started. So far, so good, but there's really not much to report. You know, I'm betwixt and between here because I feel that, you know, we've got a low bidder from someone who can obviously do the work and is going to provide a picture from each improved property. And I'm just like,
Well, I think that
Brian was going to.
they are using the pictures. They're using the pictures that are on file unless it is a new property.
Okay.
And then if it's a new property, say the hotel,
Yep.
then there will be pictures of a new property.
Okay.
Actually, John Leary, I think, handles that side of it for Ryan, who is a separate commercial appraisal specialist, I think is how you would put John Leary. He's based out of, I think, New Haven. But they do it all under one ball of wax. So that's the thought there. I've never heard of this Municipal Valuation Services. Ryan, Vision, and Tyler I have. Tyler always comes in high.
So it looks like Ryan did the 2017, so they did the last one, correct?
Vision, I thought, did the last one.
According to the document.
And the 2017 reeval, it says Ryan Associates successfully performed the 2000, the 2006, and the 2017 reeval.
So that
page
Vision
6.
would have been 11 or 12. Okay, Vision, we had some challenges with. That I do remember.
Can I just kind of throw out, just for
ahead.
you? The town of Orange has not had a wealth of tax appeals, at least in the 17 years that I've been in this position. We get the standard, I call it the standard dozen, from the Post Road. Really don't have much by way of residential, which is fortunate, and I think it's because of the way the assessor manages these accounts. I will caution you not to, steer away to, if you're going to steer away from his recommendation, you may want to defer and speak to him because, the town of Fairfield, which we represent, they have probably in excess of 200 residential tax appeals. And, when you look at what the costs are associated with tax appeals from a legal perspective, not only for each of those tax appeals do you have legal expense, but you have independent appraisal expense. Mark has
Do you know
done.
who did their reval?
I don't know off the top of my head, but Mark does like working with John Leary. I know we've had good success with him in the courts when we've been defending the tax appeals. I'm not going to say, if you know of any reason why you shouldn't, but if Mark is making that recommendation, I would just suggest you put some weight on what he's recommending, only because we have had a very good track record with the assessments in the town and keeping those appeals very low.
I do want to say something that I missed when I first read this. Page 2, if you look at Municipal Valuation Services, we have used this company before. They have done appraisals for us on land purchases under Karen and Fazio title. We've used them for multiple appraisals over the years, actually, the town has. So we are familiar with that company, as a matter of fact, and David Herbst is who did the appraisal for Racebrook Country Club. By way of this company did our appraisal for Racebrook, and so we have dealt with them. So if you want to, we have enough time at the moment, if you want to table this till January for a better answer from Mark on that.
Just for the record, I did ask for a motion to approve it, so there was no second, so just point of order, just in case.
Okay, all right. So,
For discussion or no? Do you want to do that?
go ahead.
Let's just
Second for discussion, which
then
we've been
have
having,
discussion.
But anyhow, so you do know, yeah, all in favor. So anyhow, so we do know both of those players, actually.
I like the idea that Vince is giving excellent counsel in saying that obviously Mark is the one who's dealing with the situation, and if he really feels strongly for this particular group, I don't see why we need to table it unless you guys really want to talk to Mark directly. I mean, he's given us quite a narrative.
Well, I was about to say, I appreciate Vincent's information. Like I said, I would have hoped that Mark would be here tonight just to answer some questions, especially because he was not recommending the low bidder. I'll defer really to the feelings of the table. I just wanted to bring it up that, the recommendation is not for the low bidder, and just to at least have a thorough discussion before we make that decision. That's all.
Well, we know it won't be Vision or Tyler. No, it won't. So, and you've read his document there, but we have used both of these companies. Municipal has never done a reval, so I don't know what their track record is, and Mark says they're getting ready to do East Hartford's here, I guess, which is a very large,
Municipal is Fazio? Municipal is carrying Fazio? Yeah. Last year, when I was working with the tax assessor down in Greenwich, there was some concerns raised with some of their reval work. So, municipal reval work. Yeah. I don't know what title, what entity, but the principles of that company. I've worked with both Mark and his partner, successfully, but I know the assessor down in Greenwich was not terribly happy.
And that was with a reval situation.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just a couple $100 million parcel that she was upset with.
And JF Ryan, we've had issues with them over the years, too. I remember sitting here through the interview process one time with the review committee for that, and John Ryan was a interesting individual, to say the least, during our interview. He, leave it at that, but it wasn't warm and fuzzy. So either way, there, but, Mark has chosen one, and the other one is the low bidder, so.
Well, to interject, I mean, let's face it, we always prefer to have our people here to answer questions. It's the best way for us to have that opportunity to do so, but respectfully, I think Mark did a great job with his recommendations. I thought he was very thorough. This is what he gets paid to do, and he wrote it out. He's just not here. I'm personally comfortable with his recommendation. I think he was very thorough. Yes, it's not the lowest bidder, but he did explain why he didn't do that. So I don't think we need to table it, but if somebody wants to do that, that's their right to do it.
No, I just asked if that was,
No, I'm just saying, but I'm comfortable with proceeding with my motion to accept it.
okay.
No, I think if Mark was here, we'd have it verbal, but it's here. I really do, I think. Oh, sorry, John. I agree. I think Mark has done a really nice job of really putting out all the different avenues that we would be asking questions on. And I do like the way that he's also said that with the municipal valuation is going to be involved in a big project, seeing that that's a detriment also, which I agree. So I see no problem going with Ryan.
So I'll second John's motion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. I think it will be very interesting to see how this revaluation shakes out, because we've seen some crazy, and all of you here know it, we have seen some crazy sales where we all have stood shaking our head going, how the heck is that house worth that kind of money? But, we've seen it. And, I saw a house today that was for sale. Nice house, dated, but a very nice house, well-kept. New York license plates in the driveway today when I went by. This for sale sign was gone and New York license plates there. And I said,
There you go.
hell, there you go. I mean, I was talking to a guy who, there was a house for sale for $560. They urged him to go higher. He went to $580, had a couple contingencies, like oil tank and a couple things like that. Some people came in, $600 cash, no contingencies. Done. I mean, knocked them right out of the box. So it's kind of amazing what you're seeing out there, and, so I'll be curious to see how the reval goes for, Mr. and Mrs. Jones who've been in their house for 35 years and, you know, considering it's still a $300,000 ranch and all of a sudden, you know, if they come in at 580, you know, it's going to be a challenge, you know? I mean, all right, so anyhow, we have a motion made and seconded for JF Ryan Associates. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous, okay. Okay. Act on agreement between the Orange Board of Education and the Orange Teachers League. They sent this over. We've been to this rodeo before. You have three options. You either vote to support it, you vote to oppose it, or you take no action on it and it becomes law in 10 days or 30 days. I forget. So those were your three options on it. I know Ralph was reading it. I'm not interested in punctuation and grammaticals, and that doesn't. So does Ralph. But those don't do anything for us. If you think the numbers are out of whack or, you know, something like that, that's, you know, a concern that you can, you know, that has some meat to it. They've done a lot of switching of things. They have HSA health plans over there and stuff. One of our units that will be coming before us after the new year for negotiations is looking at all of the options for health coverage, because the health insurance prices that they pay as a copay are a percentage of what we pay, and they're all driven by consumption. And we've had some high consumption cases. So they're looking at other options. So some of them have gone to the HSA type of plans. But anyhow, so with that said, teacher's contract. Mitchell.
Overall, I've gone through it. Overall, it's fine because they've made you can see the concessions that have been made in the healthcare and some other places. The only concern I have is looking at the salary schedules. You know, it's a typical, you know, teacher's contract, which has a number of steps, and the movement on steps is significant. You know, we're approving contracts in the 2s, and those moving on steps are in the 4s, 5s, and 6s, moving on steps. And they added another step, which, you know, just gives another 4.5% raise, you know, being here 20 years. And then what happens is, if you looked at the salary schedule, the schedule doesn't change, so people just, which is a good thing because they just move up on the same steps. But that from 15th to 16th step, in year 1, if you're moving on the 19th to 20th year, it's 4.5. In year 2, it's 6%. In year 3, it's 7.3%.
Yeah.
So there's some big movement, and I think people just be aware of it. Overall, I don't have a big problem with the contract, but I felt that I'm just, you know, a little bit perplexed as to why they did that in the end. No one's here to respond to it, but, you know, like I say, overall, I think it looks like a solid, fair contract overall. Just a little concerned about those step movements.
They're big, and that ultimately does affect the budget of the Orange Board of Education.
Yep.
And that ultimately affects each of our residents, our taxpayers, and that is of concern. But then the other side of the coin you get is that's why we're seeing those out-of-state and other area license plates, supposedly, is because of that. I don't believe it's just education, but it is certainly is a big part of it. Ralph, your thoughts on it? I know you were reading it today.
Excuse me. I thought that both people who signed it, they should have read it. Somebody
Ralph, your
should have
microphone.
proofread it.
Microphone.
Microphone, Ralph.
Whoop. I think the people who signed it should have read it. Apparently, there was no spell check or anything in the thing, but, and I agree with Mitch a little bit. I think some of the numbers are on the high side. You look at some 5%, 6% in places. And I haven't heard of any other town in the area going with any kind of an increase like that. And like you said, Jim, we can turn it down. We can vote to defeat it, and that goes to arbitration then, right? Or mediation?
I think it would go back to them first for potential renegotiation.
Okay.
And then if they can't come to terms, then it would probably go to arbitration, mediation possibly. The state tries to mediate more first before they send you to Newington,
Right.
so, yeah.
I thought, but then
I've been to Newington a
I
long
was reading the Wall Street Journal today, and how it looks like a lot of companies are raising their salary levels coming up in the next year. So,
Oh, yeah,
6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I don't know.
yep.
Do we have any way of comparing data from other municipalities?
They would provide that, and they do not provide that. We're lucky to get that, quite honestly. They have not provided, I don't even know who does their legal. It used to be Shipman Goodwin. I don't know if it still is. Could be. I don't know. But they beat each other up. They stay there till all hours of the night and all on it. But I do not have comparatives for you on that, Connor. And
I
they
just
don't.
want to add, first of all, I want to thank Ann
I
for.
mean, Mitch, you
Oh,
see it in
well, I was
Guilford,
I want
so-
to thank Ann, first of all, for getting us the black line, because without that, we have no clue as to what the comparison was. And I thank her for getting that for us. My understanding, my knowledge is really strictly on the municipal side, where the average increases right now are about 2.3 to 2.5% per year. But that's not the same as the education side, which I know is always higher. And so, look, I'm not saying that what we have in front of us is a bad contract. I just wanted to point it out so everyone's aware of what we're voting on. I'm just a little concerned. It probably is competitive. I'm sure the Board of Ed has worked hard to keep us competitive. Like I said, I'm a little concerned about adding that step and then having the gap increase each year. One thing, though, that in fairness, for those, if I did my math correctly, which I hope I did, for those that are at the top step, it looks like the increase will only be 1.3, 1.4%.
Always small.
In the years ahead. So it's not like everybody's getting it, but I don't know. I have no idea without the Board of Ed here, how many teachers are past the 20-year mark, or how many of them have, are still on the steps.
Yeah, once they hit that plateau up there.
Yeah.
Their increases are.
Yeah, so it's
but we
lower.
have a lot of young staff.
It's lower at that point. So, look, I'm not saying I'm against it. I just want to make sure we all were aware of what we were voting on going forward, and make sure it's just a concern. That's all. But like I say, my knowledge is strictly on the municipal side. I don't have the numbers, nor have I seen numbers recently on the Board of Ed side of things, which is different. Excuse me?
Pullman Conley.
Pullman Conley.
Thank you.
Coming from the Board of Ed's watching.
Yep.
Yes, they are.
So with that said,
I
is
think-
there a motion on this?
Why don't we just table it? Make a motion to table
I
it?
don't think we can. I think
Is that, or what do we have to do? We can, what
Well,
was
you
it?
could just take no action.
Take no action. I think we should do that then. I'll make a motion to do that.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, so there's no action taken?
Well, can we clarify what that,
It will pass. It just sits and it becomes law.
Right, so just so Connor, so there's three things you could do. You could vote to accept it, you could vote to reject it, or you can do nothing. And if you do nothing, then in 30 days, it's as if you approve.
Yeah,
I really don't
So-
know the benefit of.
yeah.
I honestly really don't, respectfully, Jude, I really don't know the benefit of just doing nothing, right? We've had a board member say he had concerns, but he didn't elaborate whether it would put him in a situation where he was going to reject it or not. So I don't know respectfully what your thoughts are on it. I agree that the numbers are a little skewed, but the contract is what it is. You know, I'm inclined to accept it, but if this board feels that we shouldn't do that, you know, I'll support the board. I just don't think we should not take no action.
And
I mean,
John, theoretically, but the option of doing nothing is kind of saying, I don't like it, but I don't want to vote against it. So it's like, it's, you know, so it's sending a message that, you know, I'm not going to vote yes, but I'm not going to vote no. I'm just going to send you a message that we're not voting yes. But
it still becomes.
the effect is
It
yes.
still becomes yes.
The effect is yes. It's kind of like abstaining.
If it were voted on, I will vote in favor of it. But I am concerned for the future of those increases, because those increases have very real impacts on their overall budget. They have far more staff on the Orange Board of Education side than the town of Orange side. And on the heels of that, you will also have the other school system probably doing something similar. So that all has very real impacts on your overall budget. Your town budget is at 76 million, something like that. I mean, when I took office, I think the town budget was 62 or 59, something like that, and the biggest parts of the increases in this have been the two education systems, which we have, that's 67% of the budget, and we have very little control over. So, Mitchell.
Based on Vinnie's explanation and Judy's motion, I'll second Judy's motion. I think, I'm not inclined to reject it for a couple reasons, because I know that, I'm sure the board and the teachers have all worked hard on this. Rejecting it's probably going to end up in our laps again at the same result, and it'll cost us a lot of money to get there because they have come to an agreement. But I'm not sure I feel comfortable, you know, with voting in favor of, like I said, Jim, like I'm agreeing with Jim where, you know, if I have to vote yes or no, I would vote yes, because I don't want to vote no, but I'm also not inclined to, because I know the impact that this is showing, and it's also an impact on our other unions that we deal with, you know, and we have to be concerned about that.
Yes, absolutely. So then we will take no action on this matter. Do you vote on taking no action?
Well, I think technically, as a matter of point of order. Yeah, yes.
Lawrence, sit down.
Do not call me Mr. Marino, please. Just as a point of order, I believe there's a motion was there a motion on the floor?
I made a motion.
Judy made a motion to
Take no action.
to take no action.
Okay, so
There's no motion.
I would say that if.
Or we don't want a motion.
No, you don't need a motion to take no action. So if there's no it would either be a motion to approve, a motion to reject, or nothing.
Okay, we're done. Next.
So that's the consensus of this
Jim,
group, no action.
I have a question.
Yes, Rob.
When does this have to be done?
Within 30 days. We have to act, there's a 30-day
What's the-
window that we have to act on.
What's our window now? Are we in the
We're-
17th day?
We're in the middle of it, so you can't wait till your next meeting. You'll be beyond the 30-day window.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
In a sense, if you table it,
All right.
that will be taking no action.
Okay.
Okay, so you've taken no action on item number 2. All right. 3. Item number 3 was addressed to myself and the board. My name is Brian T. Lewis. I am the executor for the estate of Ethel M. Lewis. My grandmother's house at 340 Sybil Street will be sold in early '22. I request that this be on the December 8th, 2021 agenda. Please let me know the board's decision on the sale of the house. If you have any questions or need, sincerely, Brian Lewis. This is on Sybil Street. It's in the affordable housing neighborhood over there that we own. We own the land under them, I should say. And it is Ethel Lewis passed away years ago. Then her son, John, he never got his mother's affairs in order. John lived on Mapledale Road. John passed away a short while ago. And so now his children are faced with settling their father's and their grandmother's estates in order to clear all this up. And the house is currently lived in by one of John Lewis's daughters, and she will be moving into what was the family house on Mapledale Road. And another family member is buying Ethel Lewis's house. This is a right of first refusal, which we have to, if we don't want it, which we don't want it. And then it will go to another family member wants to buy it. So then they know this, they have to meet the income guidelines and all as prescribed in those land contracts. So when this was done under Dottie Berger's administration. And provided that person passes the proper information by review by the assessor, then that person can buy the house. So it will stay in the family for another generation, which is okay with me. I mean, Lorraine Liebels, we did the same thing. We waived our right, and the granddaughter purchased that house from the estate. So is there a motion or not to waive the town's right of first refusal for 340 Sybil Street?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. Okay. Item number 4 is to consider and act on the approval of the tax refunds for December in the amount of $10,456.87. And I don't think any of us are on there? No. Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay. All right. Pension Board Committee.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Pension Board met recently, and our assets for the pension plan are now at about $30 million. The total plan in the last quarter, most of you have watched the stock market go its ups and downs. The last quarter was a little bit down. We were down by 0.9%, but our year-to-date is still up by 6.8% in our pension plan, so still in decent shape there. We spent a lot of time, though, speaking about the retirement plan for those who aren't in the pension, which is now 199 participants with plan assets of $29 million that have combined what the town puts in and the employees put in to the plan that we have with Mid-America. They're Mutual of America. And we met with them as well. But after we met with them, there was a feeling that it was time to take a look at who was managing our account. So we're going to proceed. We voted to proceed with an RFP from Fiducian, who looks at our pension all the time with us, provide us a cost as to going out for RFP, and as Ann has informed me today, we're trying to set up a special meeting in the next week to vote on that and probably bring a contract to this board for approval to look at that. We felt it's time to take a look at who's managing the account. It's gotten very big, and it was time to go out to look.
So you're going to have a special meeting for that?
Special meeting, yeah. Ann sent out a notice today looking for dates for next week, so it's a potential next week meeting, hopefully, and then we'll be back, hopefully, in January to this board with a proposal.
Okay. Capital Planning, Ralph.
We had our first meeting a week ago, and we reviewed 3 inputs from department heads, and they were present and answered questions. We're having our second meeting tomorrow morning, and then we will going to go into recess until after the holidays and resume, I believe it's the 6th of January. So,
Okay. Very good. With that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, all right, motion to adjourn is made at 8:24.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.